Dani Sage, welcome to the Carrie Croft Show.
Thank you.
I'm excited about this.
I'm excited too.
You know, I'm a card reading virgin.
Do you know like 90% of my clients are?
Are they really?
Yeah.
I've never gone to a psychic. And you're a modern mystic.
I am.
So let's start with like, what led you to this path of owning, like starting Good Vibes Hive?
Yeah.
How did all this come to be?
I mean, looking back, I was a witchy little girl, always making little potions in the backyard and collecting rocks and things like that. In the 8th grade, I bought my first tarot deck from Barnes & Noble and basically had every slumber party attendant get a reading from 8th grade to senior year. And then it turned into kind of like a drunk party trick in college. And then I eventually I think like a lot of my clients, when they come to me, I got to a point where I had checked all the boxes, hit all my goals. Like I was in the career that I thought I wanted. I was killing it. I had been promoted a million times. I was at the spot that I had been going for. And then I was not happy and kind of had like a little meltdown. Like I thought that this was everything I wanted, and now this is still not fulfilling me. So I quit and started my own thing, and now I read tarot for other people and human design charts and own the Good Vibes Hive, which is a metaphysical shop in Worthington, Ohio.
So are you all about people's like signs too?
Yeah.
So that's all a part of this.
All
like,
part of it.
And the mood, like all these things. Like I know I'm a Sagittarius. I know kind of our personality trait. So I just said that, now you're like,
Yeah,
right?
taking little notes, yeah.
So it's so wild.
Tarot and human design, it's similar to astrology. Those are my preferred tools, but I like any tool for my toolbox you can give me. Like astrology, crystals,
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
I want it.
So okay. So wait, before we go like too deep into that, because I do want a lot of this to be about that. But what was your career that you were kind of, that you were so successful and you were just miserable? What were you doing?
I was a salon manager.
Oh.
I oversaw at the peak 4 salons.
Okay.
And
So
all
that
the employees.
okay. So you're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And then the calling, the witchery, if you will,
Yeah.
came back.
Well, I used it when I was going through that period because I just was like, am I going crazy? Like, this was everything I wanted, and I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do now. I found myself reaching for those tools. It's like I got desperate and was just like, I don't know what to do. Maybe these cards can
And they did.
tell me what to do.
And they did, right?
And they did, yeah.
So I need these cards to tell me what to do.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah, we can
I'm not
do
getting
that.
this. So okay. So what can you? Because I asked you about reading my cards, and you're like, well, the whole reading is like super long. But what can we do
Yeah.
in a like condensed version where I can learn some things about what the hell I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah. So I do a lot of like pop-up events where I'm reading for like tens, sometimes 100 people. My favorite reading to do for that is what the universe wants you to stop doing, start doing, and continue doing.
Let's do that.
All right.
Okay.
Our friend Sammy is a big fan of
Oh,
that one.
wait. Oh, yeah. And before we, how dare I not at the onset of this give a shout out to Sammy Jane, because Sammy's awesome. I
She's
mean,
the
times
best.
a million.
Yeah.
And the reason why you and I found each other is because when Sammy was sitting with me, she was talking about you and how you have contributed significantly to kind of helping her understand her path and all the other things. So that's why I even reached out to you. So
I know.
thanks, Sammy.
Thanks, Sammy. That
We
was
love
so
you.
sweet to listen
Yeah.
to.
We love you. Okay, so let's pretend like I just came to the Good Vibes Hive.
Okay.
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 Here I am.
All right. Shuffle these cards.
I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
I think that's normal.
Like, what is this? What does this witchy woman know? Okay, question. Did you feel anything about me when you first met me just now? Was there like any kind of energy going on?
I mean, I can definitely pick up vibes.
Like,
but
what's
not,
the vibe?
Not as much as you would. So I think there are people who are like identify as psychic that can like
Yeah.
hear things, and I'm more intuitive. like the energy that you're giving me, I can kind of like
what am I giving?
feel out. You seem very calm.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I am.
yeah. But we'll see what the cards say.
I'm giddy. I really am excited about this.
All right. All I need you to do is get your energy into the deck. So I'm going to hand them to you, and you're just going to kind of like cut them a little bit,
Okay.
like shuffle them up, and then hand them back to me when it feels good.
Okay. Big money, no whammies. You're feeling lots of good vibes. Should I like put them in like that?
You can do whatever you want.
I think I'm ready.
All right. Let's see. So it's going to be stop, start, continue. So we'll start over here, the King of Cups. That is your stop doing card. This usually shows up. I always think of the King of Cups as this really kind of entrepreneurial, visionary, like everything you would think of in that realm, but leading with the heart instead of the head. So sometimes we can tend to kind of like get into our heads, or, you know, we live in a world where the way we've been taught to lead is very masculine, being super competitive, pushing people out of the way, taking people down. And the King of Cups is the opposite of that. Like getting to where you want to be in a really aligned, beautiful, supportive community kind of way. So if you felt lately like you've just been all in your head, or like really trying to push and hustle, or like feeling like you're about to burn out, sometimes he'll show up to be like, there's a more gentle, more aligned way to get where you want to be that is not going to lead you to burn yourself out. Do you feel like you're...
I mean, that's me constantly.
Is it?
That's my, I don't mean it to be.
Yeah.
But that's always what it is for me, is like I'm a very driven, my mind works a certain way. And so that's been a huge thing that a muscle I've been trying to build.
Yeah.
Is like sitting back and letting things happen. Like continuing, I can't not work hard. Like I just have to go do something, and I've always got a vision or a goal. But certain things I'm starting to sort of let the universe kind of come.
Yeah.
And I definitely have felt that, and I've felt it happening.
Yeah.
Like it's working.
Good.
You know? Yeah, it's definitely that was spot on, Dani.
Okay. I mean, it's so easy to get stuck in that mindset. I know. I've owned my own business for 7 years now.
Yeah.
You listen to any business podcast or read any kind of business book, and it's kind of like business bros being like, I slept on my friend's couch for 4 years and went to bed at 2 a.m. and woke up at 4 a.m. and ate ramen noodles, blah, blah, blah. So that gets kind of like ingrained where the only way to be successful is to sacrifice
everything else,
your own personal needs. And
I'm already on this path. Yeah. I definitely have work to do, but this is something that I have, a tone that I have set that is like not going to happen overnight for me, because I am so intrinsically built a certain way, and I understand that. So me being kind of stepping back and being the softer version and kind of letting things happen, it's definitely something I'm getting better at.
Good.
And it feels good.
Good.
It feels right.
All right, next card.
Well, spot on, Dani.
Start doing card, 10 of Wands. This usually shows up when we, again, have a lot on our plates. You're kind of going to get like a redundant message today.
Yeah.
The best thing to do in a start doing version of the 10 of Wands is, if you can't clear anything from your plate right now, try to start saying no more so that it doesn't continue to get piled on. What happens sometimes in the 10 of Wands, wands are the suit of fire. There's a lot of quick movement here, but if we start taking too much of other people's stuff on, there's no room for us to do our thing.
That's actually really funny. There'll be a couple people like dying because of what you just said. Because like literally that was a conversation that was in this room yesterday or the day before. It was like, hey, need to keep focusing on this and kind of stop doing all of this, because you owe it to this vision
Yeah.
to go full steam ahead.
I think, again, as women,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to be like, I'm going to solve everyone else's problems.
Oh, the multitask. I mean, we're the
Yeah.
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 Big
While
time.
I also work on my own thing, but then we
Mhm.
get spread thin and
Yeah.
can't stop saying yes to things that
Yeah.
are not in alignment with where we're trying to get.
Yep. Is this Eight of Swords kind of the same, like?
It's got a similar vibe, yeah. So this is your continue doing card. I know you mentioned before. I always like to talk about the art on this particular card. So there is a woman seated in a really densely wooded forest. She's got a veil over her face, 8 swords kind of around her, stuck in the ground, a cauldron in front of her with a lot of smoke coming out of it. And the idea of this card is she feels swords are the suit of your kind of mental, logical space. When they show up, it can feel like she's overwhelmed in this card. She's just kind of like in analysis paralysis. She sat down and kind of gave up for the moment. If she took things one at a time, let's say she decided, all right, I don't want to be here anymore, and stood up and took off running, she'd trip over the veil, she'd trip over the swords, she'd spill the cauldron, she probably couldn't find her way out of the woods. But if she, I always say with this card, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. You take the veil off. You can see that the cauldron is kind of obstructing the smoke from the cauldron's obstructing your view. If you turn around, there's a little gap in the swords. You could easily walk out. And then once you get kind of away from the smoke and the swords, there is a clearing in the forest that you would be able to walk out of. So if this is your continue doing card, I'm going to assume that you've already started taking steps to kind of one at a time, figure out what you want to do next, instead of, you might have been in a state of analysis paralysis or overwhelm for a second, but you're moving out of there now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I have so I'm more of a, like, I need to be told, like, you're right. The best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, because I'm going to take the whole elephant down.
Yeah.
You know, I'm smart enough to know that you can't do that, but I have more of a hard charge, go after it.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, you have to take things as they come, one logical step at a time. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There you go.
Okay, so what's another, like, what else can we find out about me? Is there any other, like, little, without doing like this like major reading?
Yeah. Do you want to ask me a specific question?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want certain answers. Do people like come and ask you, like, what do they ask you?
It's kind of both. So some people come in, they've never had it done before, they're just curious.
Yeah.
So we'll do a reading, like an open-ended reading like this, and the cards will tell us what we need to focus on. But other people come with very specific questions. It's so odd to know how many like really big life-changing decisions I've been a part of, like divorce, big moves, quitting jobs, total career changes, if people should have another baby, things like that.
So how long does it take you to study and learn? I mean, there's a lot of cards there.
Yeah, there are 78 cards in a tarot deck.
And you have to know a lot about each one. So how long does that take for you to learn? Or you're still learning?
I think,
is it still like a constant process?
Yeah, I think I'll always still be learning. There are times I'll have read the same card a million times, and just the energy of the person in front of me, I'll find myself saying something that I've never said about that card before. And it just kind of adds another depth to it. I'll hear another reader, the way that they interpret some of the cards, and think, oh my gosh, I've never looked at it that way, and then add that to it.
I assume that you believe that people can be like, come through people, like people who are past, right?
Yeah.
Do you have someone that you go to that like reads your energy, or that like, because everyone who has like a practice like this has like a guru or a mentor.
Gosh, yeah.
Who's yours? So she's a clairvoyant.
Yes. She can see your spirit guides. I did this reading with her one time where it was, she sits in front of you and your spirit guides will like pop up next to you and she'll describe them. And sometimes it's people that you know that have passed on, and sometimes it's like angels or people from past lives that you don't know in this one. It was really interesting.
Is that super emotional?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine like not having a total breakdown.
Yeah. My papaw, my mom's father, shows up a lot, like even outside of readings with her. And I think because he was one of the first people in my life that encouraged things like this, he was really spiritual. But he had like all these like kind of healing things. He believed really deeply that your kind of like the law of attraction, but he didn't have a name for it then until like The Secret came out in like 2007.
Yeah.
Which he loved that book when it came out because it finally put a language to what he had always believed. So I was kind of raised with this, your thoughts create your reality. And if you think that you're going to have a bad time, you're going to have a bad time. If you think you're going to have a good time, you're going to have a good time. He took me to psychic fairs.
So how many times have you been in front of a psychic? Like tons?
Tons, yeah.
And then is there any particular experience you've had where you were like, whoa, that stands out? Anything they told you or anything you're like,
I'm trying to
this person's
think.
BS, like this person's totally legit? I mean, because there have to be some hokey people out there too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely gone to some hokey people.
Yeah.
But I've also gone to people that you're just like,
can't even believe.
oh my God, you have such a gift.
Yeah.
It's wild. I think things that stand out to me, like anytime a past life comes up, where are you familiar with Akashic Records? It's the idea that everything that has been and will be is written in this Akashic record thing. And there are people that can tap into them. There's a woman here locally. Her name is Janie. She's at the Reiki Center in Grandview. She is an Akashic record reader. And your session, she basically opens your Akashic records energetically, and whatever comes through, like past lives, future stuff. And anytime I've gone to her and a past life has come up, it's been wild.
So a past life you've lived?
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah. Like one in particular, I think like everyone does, I struggle a lot with my money mindset, especially as a business owner. I'm constantly trying to work on the way that I feel about money and spending it and losing it, whatever. She saw that in a past life, I want to say it was like provincial era France, and I was a widow. My husband had died. We had a farm, and I couldn't pay the taxes on the farm. So I was made to, like, my punishment was to be in the town square for 24 hours in the stocks. And like, whether that's real or not,
right?
Just being able to be like, I don't know where all like the money shame comes from, because it's not this lifetime. Like, I've struggled financially like in my 20s, but I should have been over that by now. It's not like I was ever destitute or anything, but I just had all this shame and discomfort around money. When she told me that, I was just kind of like, oh, well,
that makes
this
sense.
energy that I was holding on to, and now I can release it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should go to her. A part of me's scared of this stuff because I don't know if you always want it. So, like, for example, are there any cards in there in front of you that are like, when they come up, you're kind of like, oh, like, or are they all just sort of benign? Like,
I would say they're all benign. There are definitely cards in the deck that people react to. There is a death card, but it doesn't mean you're going to die. It's more of like a rebirth kind of transformational, the way that a caterpillar ceases to be a caterpillar when it becomes a butterfly. It doesn't die. It's still alive. It's just a totally different thing. There's a card in the deck called the Tower. It looks pretty scary. It's literally almost like a castle tower with a bolt of lightning going through it and two people jumping out of the side. But while tower moments can be really uncomfortable, they're kind of like what you thought. I would say me freaking out about my past career, getting to where I wanted to be, and then being like, oh my God, I don't actually want this.
Yeah.
Was a tower moment that card would have showed up for me a lot then. But you end up, that tower crumbles. So whatever you had built that you thought like, well, I'm going to satisfy my parents, or I'm going to satisfy society by making my life like this, and now I've totally knocked that over. In the tower, you get to build whatever you want on this foundation that is not based on societal standards or people's expectations of you. So although it's uncomfortable in the moment, I think when you go through a tower moment in real life, it ends up being really beautiful and transformational.
Yeah. So if someone looks up Good Vibes Hive and wants to make an appointment, what do they expect when they go in? Is it just you? Are there a couple? Okay, so it's you.
It's me.
And then you can do like a full...
Yeah, you can do, so if you want your cards read, we can do a half an hour. Usually my like newbies are comfortable with that because you're not going to be there for a long time, especially if you don't have a specific question. We would just do something like this. You can do a full hour. And then I also have a service called Find Your Divine, which is what you were asking about. That is a combination of tarot cards and oracle decks. Oracle decks have more specific topics. So I use, I think, 5 oracle decks and crystals with that. That is really helpful. I designed that when I was in that kind of space of not knowing what I wanted my life to be like next. It's kind of like your unstuck reading. And then I also do human design chart readings.
So what's that?
It is like a meaning making system, like the Enneagram or astrology or the Myers-Briggs. It's based on your birth chart, but it is a more modern modality. It uses astrology and the chakra systems, but it also uses a little bit of quantum physics. And it basically, I feel like it's more actionable than any other of those systems. It tells you how to kind of tweak your life to get back into alignment. Like how it's like your energetic blueprint, how you're designed to live with the least amount of resistance.
What's your sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
So what do you think about Sagittarius?
I love Sagittarius.
You do?
Yeah.
Are there any signs you don't really like you don't jive with as well? Or would you not say that?
I can't think of any that I don't jive with as well. There are definitely ones that I feel more strongly connected to, just completely subconsciously. Like I don't, although it is tempting as soon as I meet someone to ask them like, what time are you born and what's your birthday, so I can look up their chart. But I resist.
I have a little trauma about being a Sagittarius.
Why?
Because one of my friends, who will remain nameless, she knows who she is. She is big time into astrology.
Okay.
And she told me at one point there was one sign that she did not get along with and she didn't like, and she wouldn't tell me for the longest time. And then come to find out, it's Sagittarius.
Well, you proved her wrong.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't like me, and she's just pretending.
Maybe.
You know who you are. Like, it was actually really funny because I was like sending her like things about, I'm like, look, they're the most likable. I think that it's like a very likable sign.
Yeah.
Because I started deep diving and like looking it up, and I'm like, well, other people like Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Like, what are we?
I feel like sometimes if you have like I had an ex that was a Scorpio, and forever I was like, I
didn't like
Scorpios. But he was just a bad guy. It had nothing to do with him being a Scorpio.
Yeah. But I think what's Sagittarius, we are what? Life of the part. Like, I don't even remember what it is.
Yeah. Aren't you supposed to be like super outgoing and just, yeah.
Yes. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Well, Capricorns aren't supposed to get along with Aries, and like 5 of my favorite people. I'm married to one. My mother's one, my best friend's one.
Really?
Like there's my papaw. Like
I find the signs so fascinating. I mean, I'm not totally into them like other people I know who like literally have to, like, that's their entryway. Like they have to know someone's sign, and like is it a moon sign or something? Like there's a sign and then all these weird different things.
Your big 3.
Oh, what's the big 3?
Your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign.
So I don't even know if I know that. I just know I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah. Do you know what time you were born?
I can't remember. Maybe like 1 a.m.
Yeah, you could look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the time you were born.
Yeah.
And then the month.
Yeah, your birth date and your birth time will show you your astrological chart. That's how you look up human design charts too.
Well, then what's that third one? I thought you said 3.
Sun, moon, rising.
So, but it's only just based on those two pieces of data.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's where all the planets were, like the minute that you were born.
Oh my God, it's wild.
It is.
It's totally wild. What else can we know, or that you want to like talk about with the business, or anything else you want to promote?
If you want to learn more, if you're interested in learning more, like it's not astrology, but astrology plays a big part in it. In your human design, I actually have a free human design chart template on my website, goodvibeshive.com.
Oh.
If you know what time you were born or about what time you were born, it'll ask you your birth date, your birth time, and then it'll ask you where you were born, just for time zone sake.
Okay.
It will pull up your human design chart.
I love that.
And you can learn more. And if you want to get even deeper, it's been such a transformational tool. My husband, he's very supportive, but this world is just not his thing. He was raised Catholic. I think he's a little scared of having like a witchy wife. But when I started learning human design, I kind of used him to learn how to read charts. And I remember reading his chart to him and him just being like, oh my gosh. And now he's like my friends at brunch that'll be like, well, it's because I'm a Sagittarius. But with his human design, he'll quote things from his chart.
Yeah. So if you're out there listening to this and you're curious, just go to www.goodvibeshive.com, right?
Right.
And then you can get the free template.
Yep.
But I also highly recommend people just, go to you, and if they're curious, like dip into the world.
Yeah. It's not scary. The Good Vibes Hive is pink and bright and comfy.
And you're pink and bright.
And I'm pink and bright.
And comfy.
And comfy, yeah.
Well, thank you, Dani.
Oh
I
my
appreciate
gosh,
it.
thank you.
That was really fun.
So
and
fun.
you might be seeing me at the Good Vibes Hive.
Okay.
You never know.
I'd love to.
And with that, if you're still out there following your girl, follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, go get your cards read by Dani and keep moving, okay?